Hello, everyone. My name is AJ, and thank you for being here at DevOps Days Amsterdam. And it's good to see some familiar faces. So today I'll talk about on-prem is the new black. You know, I work with a lot of SREs and DevOps engineers in the past few years, and we're trying to see, why, this reverse cloud migration has been the in thing these days, right? So initially, when everyone was moving to the cloud, it was meant to, either save costs and, make things quick, but underneath, you had a lot of costs and without the lack of optimization, right? And cloud companies know that. If you're just gonna lift and shift, it's not gonna make your application magically go any faster, right? So you need to go back and see like what makes sense to actually move. So if you have a small app, let's say, and you try to initially test that. So you don't need a lot of like hardware resources. You can set that up in a cloud. But as your resources increase, right, linearly, your costs go exponentially. And you end up in a situation where you have a lot of resources over provision, but you're not actually using it. So it's a lot of waste, right? So what makes sense to bring on-prem? So things like a GPU processing, which is very expensive in the cloud. You can bring it on-prem on your own hardware. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot closer to your other systems. And you can scale it with your other applications as well, right? Especially if you run it in high-performance loads like Kubernetes, and make sure that no matter where you have this deployed, it's homogeneous. Either it's hybrid cloud or multi-cloud. You want to use the same process across. And some of the challenges involved is lack of hardware knowledge and just the initial hardware costs. And also, when you have these different environments, on-prem, hardware, cloud, and so on, harmoniously working across this is a challenge as well, right? So I would like to think cloud as an operating model and not a location. What I mean is, no matter if you're in multi-cloud, hybrid, or Kubernetes, a bare metal, make sure your processes are homogeneous across all these environments. And some of the things you want to think about is your artifacts. Are you building them on your own? Are you putting them in your own registry? And are you thinking about CI/CD? And where is your infrastructure code going? Is it version controlled in Git? And so if I were to put this in a diagram, right? So I'll have a build pipeline, and then I'll have a deployment pipeline. So in the build pipeline, I will build my own artifacts, push it, test it. And in the deployment artifact, I'll use something like CDK to actually deploy it in my various environments. So the images I have could be either baked images, where I have the application API already in them, or it's just a generic one where when it's launched, I'll install the application. So initially, when I build the first layer of the artifact, I would just pull this from upstream, and I would build it and push it to my own registry. And then if I want to build my API artifact, I would build that from my internal registry and so on. So some of the tools you need to think about is how you're going to build your image, and how are you going to test it, and where you're going to store your artifacts and your CI/CD tools. And also make sure that you don't have any snowflakes. So your infrastructure, make sure you have backups and redundancies. One piece of infrastructure should not take your entire site down, right? And think of having different networks. Don't put everything in the public network. Put it in maybe like an ops network and a public network and an air-gapped network, where you have these different policies where your applications can be installed. So in the ops network, you would have something like your CI/CD tools, your deployment tools, and in the public network, you'll have your API web, and you never want to expose your databases, secrets, storage, and so on. So the three main things you would want to think about is, the on-prem hardware knowledge, and you want to think about how you're going to do the cloud operating model, and then what tools you're going to use across these hybrid environments. So am I saying, okay, close everything and go back to on-prem? No, like think about where it makes sense to actually go on-prem and cloud, and maybe in the process you will save some money, right? And this is what I do every day, and I would love to talk more about this, so you can reach me out on LinkedIn. Thank you.